A very long time ago, the world was a beautiful place. There were tall trees, green fields, and sparkling rivers. But the people living in the world were not being very kind. They forgot about God and did many bad things. They argued and fought all the time. They were not nice to each other, and this made God very sad. God looked down at the world he had made and saw that it was full of unkindness. He saw that people's hearts were not good. He knew he had to do something to wash the world clean and start over again, like when you wash your hands to get them clean. In all the world, there was one man who was different. His name was Noah. Noah was a good man who loved God very much. He tried his best to do what was right, even when everyone else was doing wrong things. He talked to God, and he listened when God talked to him. Noah had a wife, and he had 3 sons. Their names were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. His sons also had wives. Noah's family was good, and they tried to live in a way that made God happy. God saw Noah's good heart and decided he would save him and his family from the sadness that was coming to the world. One day, God spoke to Noah with a very important message. He told Noah that he was very sad about how people were behaving. He explained that he was going to send a great flood, a huge amount of rain that would cover the entire world with water. This was a very big and scary plan, but God had a special job for Noah. God wanted to save Noah and his family, and he also wanted to save all the animals. This was a chance for a fresh start, a new beginning for the world, and Noah was chosen to be a very important part of this amazing plan. God told Noah exactly what he wanted him to do. He said, "I want you to build a very big boat, Noah. It will be called an ark." This was not just any boat. It had to be huge, bigger than any boat Noah had ever seen before. It needed to be strong enough to float on the water for a very long time. It also needed to be big enough to hold his family and many, many animals. This was a giant task, but Noah listened carefully to every word God said. He knew that if God was asking him to do this, it was for a very important reason. God gave Noah very specific instructions for building the ark. He told him what kind of wood to use, called gopher wood. He told him how long, how wide, and how tall the ark should be. It needed to have 3 levels inside, like a house with 3 floors. It needed many rooms for all the animals and for Noah's family to live in. God also told Noah to put a big door on the side of the ark and a window at the very top to let in light. It was a very detailed plan, and Noah understood that he had to follow it perfectly to keep everyone safe during the great flood. So, Noah and his sons started to work. They went into the forest and began cutting down tall, strong trees. It was hard work. They had to cut the wood into long planks. Then they started to build the giant boat just as God had told them. People in the town saw what Noah was doing and they laughed at him. "Why are you building a huge boat on dry land, Noah?" they would ask. "There is no water here." But Noah did not listen to them. He kept on working because he trusted God. He knew that God's plan was more important than what other people thought. As they built, Noah also had to prepare for the long journey. God told him to cover the inside and outside of the ark with a sticky black tar called pitch. This would make the ark waterproof, so no water could leak inside when the rain came. It was like putting on a big raincoat for the boat. Noah and his sons worked day after day for a very, very long time. They hammered and sawed and spread the sticky pitch until the giant ark was finally finished. It stood on the dry ground, ready and waiting, a huge wooden ship far from any sea. While they were building, God gave Noah another important job. He told Noah to gather food. They would need a lot of food for his family and for all the animals that would be on the ark with them. So, they collected grains, fruits, and vegetables. They gathered hay and seeds for the animals. They stored everything carefully inside the big ark, filling the rooms with enough food to last for a very long time. Noah did everything that God commanded him to do. He did not forget a single thing. He had faith that God knew what was best. When the ark was finally finished, something amazing began to happen. God sent the animals to Noah. They came from all over the world, walking in a long line toward the giant boat. There were 2 of every kind of animal. There were big elephants and tall giraffes. There were lions with their big manes and small mice that scurried along. Birds of every color flew down from the sky. Creepy, crawly insects came too. 2 by 2, a boy and a girl of each kind, they walked peacefully up the ramp and into the ark, finding their special places inside. Noah and his family watched in wonder as all the animals came. The fierce lions walked calmly next to the gentle lambs. The big bears walked alongside the small rabbits. None of the animals were fighting. They all knew this was a special journey. Once every animal was safely inside, Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives also went into the ark. When everyone was inside, the Bible says that God himself shut the big door from the outside. They were all sealed safely inside the ark, ready for what was about to happen next. Then, after 7 days of waiting inside the ark, the rain began. It was not a normal rain. It started with little drops, but soon water poured from the sky. It rained and rained and rained. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights without stopping. Water also came up from under the ground. Soon, the rivers and lakes overflowed. The water rose higher and higher, covering the fields and the hills. It kept rising until it covered the tallest mountains. The whole world was covered by a great deep ocean of water. Everything on the land was washed away, but inside the ark, Noah and his family and all the animals were safe and dry. The giant boat floated on top of the water. It rocked back and forth on the waves, but it was strong, just as God had promised. Noah and his family took care of the animals, feeding them and keeping their rooms clean. They were all together in the floating ark, waiting for the water to go down. They were safe from the great flood that covered the earth because Noah had listened to God and trusted in his plan to save them. The ark floated on the water for a very long time. After many months, the rain had stopped, and a great wind began to blow. Slowly, very slowly, the water started to go down. One day, the ark gently bumped and came to a stop. It had landed on the top of a mountain called Ararat. Noah and his family were very happy, but they knew they could not leave the ark yet. They had to wait until the ground was dry enough for them and all the animals. So they waited patiently inside the ark for a little while longer. To check if the land was dry, Noah sent out a bird. First, he sent out a raven, which flew back and forth. Then he sent out a dove, but it came back because it could not find a place to land. A week later, Noah sent the dove out again. This time it came back in the evening with a fresh olive leaf in its beak. This was a sign of hope. It meant that new plants were starting to grow again. The world was coming back to life. After waiting 1 more week, Noah sent the dove out a final time, and it did not return, which meant it had found a new home. Finally, God spoke to Noah again. He said, "It is time. You can come out of the ark now. Bring your family and all the animals with you." So Noah opened the big door. He, his family, and all the animals came out of the ark and stepped onto the fresh, clean earth. The animals ran and jumped and flew, happy to be free again. The world felt new and quiet. The first thing Noah did was build an altar to thank God for keeping them safe through the flood. He was so grateful for God's love and protection. As Noah and his family stood on the clean earth, God made a very special promise. He promised that he would never again cover the whole world with a flood. To help everyone remember this promise, God put a beautiful sign in the sky. It was a rainbow, with all of its bright colors stretching across the clouds. God said, "When you see the rainbow, you will remember my promise to you and to every living creature." The story of Noah's Ark teaches us to listen to God, to have faith even when things are hard, and to remember that there is always hope for a new beginning.